Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Huh?
They go by now.
Let him know he don't want to stop.
65 yards, and the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, are you?
We're about to start.
Anything proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is Tuesday night, your favorite night of the week. Why? Because the Bama Standard is on air. Before we get rolling, I want you to do a few things for me. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're in the live chat, let's get rowdy tonight. We got a special guest, and I know you have a lot to ask and a lot to learn. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section below. Show us some love there. Let us know what you think. I'm your host, Justin Riley, and as always, I got an all-star panel headlined by the 1999 All-SEC linebacker. When Ric Flair said to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. Ladies and gentlemen, he's still that man, Marvin Constant.
Hey, roll tide, man. You know, it's a pleasure to be with you all as always, baby. You know, we got some young star power on here tonight. Maybe we can steer them in the right direction in the process.
Absolutely. And next to him, we got another All-SEC player, All-SEC defensive back, part of the Alabama Crimson Tide, B-Sci-Fi, part of Bills Mafia as a DB, shutting them down in the NFL and served as a scout. Also was over the XFL, was the first GM in college football at the University of Maryland. He's also with 247 Sports, and he hangs out with us too. Ladies and gentlemen, Smoke Dixon.
I love it, but here we go. You got to put one more in there.
One more.
The founding father of the movement from the DMV, the metropolitan area, to Tuscaloosa. Get that one in there too.
Man,
Start the pipeline.
I thought you was gonna say friend of Marvin Constant. Man,
No, you're my brother. You're my brother. You're my brother. Keep going.
And back from a hiatus, he is the lead senior analyst of the Bama Standard Network. He's also the host of Bama Vision. Catch him on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Stephen M. Smith.
Hey, people! Woo!
that's a lot of energy.
That's great energy, bro. Keep it going.
Well, someone who always brings the energy because he's the host of the opening kick on Monday nights alongside Gerald Smoke Dixon. He's also the champion of Galettes on the Strip in Tuscaloosa. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who is never short of words, Daniel Pettey.
What's up, fellas? Good to be here with you tonight, Nick. Man, Marvin and them teach you how to do it on the football field. I'll show you how to do it on the Strip.
Perry, prior to your intro, that had to be the weakest fist pump I've ever seen in life. That thing was real. I need you to work on that if you're going to do that move.
So
Man.
we got
leave that
time.
man alone.
We got time. Well, Pettey, before we introduce our guests, we have a very important company to introduce. Matter of fact, they help us keep the lights on here at the Bama Standard Network. Can you tell folks about Lambstone?
That's right, Lambstone Company. Have you dreamed of having that beautiful natural stone in or around or on your home? Well, now's the time. Go to realrockstone.com. That is Lambstone Company, located in Aniana, Alabama, one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. Our man Lamont Russell told you all about it when he was on here a few weeks ago. Get that stone today. Tell them the promo code, the Bama Standard, to receive 10% off your purchase. Look, hit them up, realrockstone.com. That's Lambstone and Aniana. After the show, of course, and always appreciate you keeping the lights on.
What's their delivery radius?
Hey, all over the country. Hey, we've gone across seas, brother.
What about Nashville for that discount?
That 5-finger discount.
Yeah, man.
We just got to get a truck and get it up there, buddy.
Petty, how does he want a discount and want to deliver to Nashville?
Hey, can you give it to me for free and get it up here? I mean, good gracious.
I never said nothing about it. Listen, we're not going to do this. We got a guest. We
do have a guest. And since the man who is also one of the greatest MCs in the world is back, I think that he probably was trying out for the WWE because when he does it, it's that impactful. And we have a reason to be excited tonight. Stephen M. Smith, tell the folks who's in the house with us.
Well, he gonna learn from Marvin Constant. He's also going to learn from Smoke Dixon, but this is a guy, he may not claim the DMV, but he represents Maryland his own way. We got the next boom stick walking through the smoke, lay you out, smack your mama down, head up. He got 2 by his last name, but he ain't 2. He the king 1, baby. We got from McDonough School, class of 2026 at the linebacker position. Welcome to the stage, Nick the Hit Stick Abrams the second coming through. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Would you believe, Nick, he does that for every player before every practice as you walk in? So if you go to Alabama, that's every practice, baby.
Every practice.
Shoot. that was really good. I ain't gonna lie. That was really good.
And if you ever go out,
you spend a lot of money on inhalers, don't you?
No, that's natural.
Okay.
Man, Marvin, you can't be hating all your life, bro. Let that man get some shine. Stop it. Phenomenal job, Steven.
Good job.
Great job.
This is just natural, man. I don't even need a inhaler for this.
honestly, Nick, have you ever had an intro anywhere of that magnitude? I mean, that's pretty powerful, right?
Yeah, no, I never had something like that. So that was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
We'll
Man,
send
he's
him on the
amazing.
road with you. You got to pay him in Twinkies, though.
No, not Twinkies, sir. Not Twinkies. Can't do that.
If you need him there for your commitment announcement, he's available as well. By the way, folks, he's not going to give the announcement tonight. So if you came to learn that, well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait till the 16th, which is your birthday, correct?
Yes, sir.
But right now, he's going to hang out with us for just a little bit. So, man, Nick, we're excited to have you. One of the best linebackers in this class, and definitely should be ready to hire. And you're going to show them. I'm excited to have you on. We're all excited to have you on.
Hey,
I know that you narrowed it down to 4. How much of a relief is it to have it down to 4? But I know the anxiety is still there because you still got 4 to go before you can kind of take that last breath.
hold on 1 second though before you answer this. Are we streaming the commitment?
No. I mean,
Yeah, on 24/7 and on 3.
We don't get no love.
That's my bad, y'all.
Marvin, I'm probably gonna do it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
my brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
smoke a pull up.
yeah, I'm gonna pull up on it.
Now I may be doing the watch party from here.
Either way, we'll make sure you're taken care of. Our audience is excited to have you. They're excited to see where you go, wherever you go, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, or Oregon. Your future is bright, man, and we're going to be cheering for you regardless. But, yeah, talk to us first about the relief it was to trim it down to 4, and then that final moment when you get to have that announcement, you can actually breathe again. How excited are you about that?
Yeah, so I say I think me and my family handled this recruiting process pretty well. We was like, first things first, we're gonna narrow this down even before unofficial start. We're gonna get focusing on these schools that we're gonna learn as much as we want about them, and then those are gonna be the schools all the way through. So getting that done was easy because you were able to like tell schools, hey, we're not interested, hey, this and that. But the main 4 schools, you're able to focus on them and get all your notes and all your gradings and stuff like that on what they did well and what they didn't do well. And then, it's going to lead up to July 16th where I figure out, what school has the highest grade in my book, what school made me feel at home. So that's going to be a school I'm going to be at. So that's it was definitely really good to get that feeling of chopping that list down.
Quick question. When you're a high-profile recruit, a lot of times the recruiting process can become very stressful. The phone never stops ringing. The letters never stop coming in the mail. So did it ever become overwhelming to you? And how did you and your family manage those expectations? Because you can tell a lot of these coaches, no, they're still not going to quit. They're going to keep coming until the last minute, until your name is on the paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say we've already had conversations about that. Reality is like once I commit, I'm pretty sure my phone ain't going to stop ringing. So until December. So, we knew that was a reality. But I think for us, just working our way, my dad handling all the stuff in terms of like logistics and the the GM and all that with the revenue sharing. He's handling all of that. So it's just me talking to coaches about ball, really seeing how I fit in the scheme. So they made it kind of easy on me. I don't got to, take a call, talk about numbers or talk about anything like that. I just got to sit there and be a recruit, see what coaches, as the most genuine, the coach that is great at development, all that sort of those little details I would look for at school. So they made it easy on me. I feel like I'm really blessed to have them, and I'm really grateful for that.
Kind of piggybacking off of what he said, you've got all these coaches. You're looking at Bama, you're looking at Georgia, you're looking at Oregon, Michigan, all over the country. Most kids going into their senior year thinking about their senior year of high school football. Obviously, you've got bigger things in store. How hard is it with all that going on to focus on, just playing ball, doing the main thing at the high school level still?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been pretty easy focusing on football because the more visits I go on, the more football we talk. And so it just makes me want to put the pads on even more and get back to work even more, seeing like the new moves I'm learning at these colleges and stuff like that, and really implementing them on different occasions during little OTAs or when you go to training camp in a couple of weeks, just trying out those new moves. So for me, I was working out in between all the plane rides to these different colleges, and then just getting back and then going straight to work as soon as I touch down. So it's been good staying in shape and really keep my mind focused on, yes, I'm trying to make a decision, but at the main thing is really football. So I'm trying to, be the best player I could be.
I had a question for you, though, and since you brought it up, I want to go ahead and get it out of the way. When you say new moves, so do you prefer on the ball or off the ball?
For me, I prefer off the ball, but in all honesty, it's anything. I could be on the ball, off the ball. I can, be in coverage, line up on a tight end or a running back, and do anything. So for me, that's what coaches tell me that is my main strength, and I believe is my main strength is my versatility. Being able to be that edge player, but then also, play stack linebacker, then also guard the tight end and the running back. So,
Nick, you talked about the recruiting process and grading teams out to getting down to your Final Four. And you said NIL was one. You said development was your other. What other grading systems did you use in order to get you down to these Final Four?
Yeah, so I think a big thing was coach stability, not necessarily a position coach, but head coach, seeing what kind of leeway he has. And, because in all honesty, these position coaches are trying to get to the next level, trying to become a head coach, trying to become an NFL coach. So you have the right head coach at the top, you're going to put your trust in him that he's going to find the right coach for you. So the position coach, I say education, big one, coming from McDonough, it's a very academic prestigious school. So education is a big thing. Life after football is a big thing. But then also I think something that's really underrated is looking at the class around you and the team around you. A coach really put it into perspective for me. Like if you have a great D-line, a great backfield, you're going to get that extra second to get to the quarterback. And then if you have a great D-line and pass coverage, you're going to get less seconds for the quarterback to throw the ball when you're in coverage. So just thinking like that, seeing who's around me, what the kind of team is around me, that's a big thing. I think some of these kids should be looking at, if they want to succeed in college. So,
well, just coming from Maryland like yourself and having options to be nationally recruited, I understand that pressure and wanting to get away from home. We talked about this before we got on air, but was one of the main factors proximity for you? And if so, I'll follow with a statement afterwards.
Yeah. So I'd say not really. I think my parents made it clear, especially with Oregon, that they weren't going to be able to make every home game. They made it clear my brother might not be able to make a lot of home games just because of the time and the flights out there. So, they put it on me. They said, if you really want this, then we're going to make it work. But, there's going to be some sacrifices. We're not going to be able to be at every home game. So, I feel like distance, since I've been young, I've been a pretty independent person. Been able to, my parents instilled great values in me, learn how to cook and all that stuff. So, they've been really, really had a really good job of just put me in a position to succeed in life. So, distance really hasn't been a factor for me in this process.
Yeah, taking it from someone that went 14 hours away from home, and just a regret that I wish I would have used back when I was getting recruited was something that Marvin got the comfort of, and that was his family being able to come out and support him throughout. But I know with NIL and travel and all that, it's made it so much easier for you guys now, because plane tickets ain't nothing when you're making 6+ figures. But proximity, just like in real estate, is always super important. But just one of those that just throw that into your factor while you're getting all that done.
Hey, Smoke, I think that's one of the things that somebody should actually take a look at and study the true impact of NIL and revenue sharing on recruiting. Because again, the fact of having that those funds at your disposal, whereas a kid coming out of Florida, it would have been highly unlikely for him to go all the way to California prior to all this. Because again, like you said, mom and dad wouldn't have resources for a lot of these kids, because we know most athletes are going to come from a predominantly poor area. Let's just call it what it is. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't an option. So now that they have that option of having those resources, and mom and dad can make those flights, and I would be interested in seeing how that has truly impacted recruiting across the board.
Well, just to answer your question, and Steve, I'm gonna let you go next. It's still the same, right, Marvin? Even though you have the resources to get your family out to see you play on Saturdays, you got to think about it like this. And this is just coming from our recruiting background and understanding, making the study. If you're going to a game on a Saturday and you are traveling, say, across the country, say to the Pacific Northwest, like, you got to factor in 5 hours flight. Plus, you got to take that day off. Plus, you got to take that Monday off, because Sunday coming back, jet lag sucks. Mm-hmm. And it all seems really, really cool when you're doing it. And for me, at 17, 16 years old, I never really put that thought into it. Coming from a family of 7, 5 sisters, my brother and I, having 20+ people wanting to see me play, I only had my parents see me play live 3 times my entire career at University of Alabama.
Yeah, you'd have needed to charter a jet every week.
It's tough. Well, go ahead, Stephen.
So, Nick, you mentioned the fact that as long as the head coach is there, everything else kind of follows suit, or kind of goes how it goes, as long as you have the head man. Kalen DeBoer, I've been seeing him tear it up here lately on the recruiting trail. With you being on defense, Kane Womack as the DC, and Christian Robinson as the outside linebackers coach, what's the relationship been like for you with those two? Because those two are going to be primarily the guys coaching you with Kane Womack and Christian Robinson. Yeah,
I even add Coach Morrell in that mix as well. All 3 of them.
Absolutely, yeah, him too.
Yeah, all 3 of them, the relationship is great, going on my official visit and then talking to them, we've been on Zoom, talking ball. It was great just sitting down, talking to them, hearing their plan. They put it step by step, gave the numbers of every practice, what we're doing, all that sort of stuff. So the relationship is great. I feel like Coach Kane Womack, he did a great job last year. They had a great defense. So, and they're going to have a lot more talent than they did last year. So I only see the sky's the limit for really them on defense. So just talking with them, and then really just envisioning myself in that defense, envisioning myself making plays, kind of where Jahad was, where D-Lock will be this year. So, I've been very good talking with them and seeing my fit in the defense.
Quick question: when you speak of fit, would you rather pass cover or crush a running back in the hole?
Crush a running back in the hole.
Yes, sir.
What?
Oh,
add to that. Oh, go ahead, Stephen.
So
you want me
looking?
To?
No, Marvin. No. So looking at your response and Marvin's fist pump to that, Nick, how do you fit in this whole swarm? Because Marvin wants to see the swarm really swarm in the coming fall. So how would you fit, Nick, in that swarm attack system?
I fit great. They pull up a bunch of clips of me doing it in high school, but then showing how they do it at Alabama. So just being able to, show the relentless effort, hard shoulder tackle, all that sort of stuff, especially Jesus, especially just talking with Coach Womack and Coach Morrell, hard shoulder tackles and all that stuff, and really making sure that you inflict pain to the ball carrier. So that was definitely I was definitely juiced up hearing about that, and so I'm really excited for talking with them and just
Yeah, and just like Alabama's defense with a bunch of different animals, we hear an animal in the back barking at us.
I was about to say that dog sound real vicious back there.
That dog juiced up. He ready to play.
You got to recruit everybody, so dog included.
So Nick, we know what you like and what your strengths are and what's got you jazzed up. And obviously, you're on the Bama show. We all want you to come to Alabama, but wherever you go, the ultimate goal is the NFL, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you got to do at the next level to get to that level? What you got to improve on?
Yeah, I'd say first things first, pass destruction, block destruction. Just it's always a thing that a linebacker can do to get better. Even if you think you're good, you can always get better at block destruction. And then also pass drops. I think playing one-on-one matchup, man-to-man with the back or tight end is one of my strengths. But feeling the zone, really, feeling the dig behind me or looking at the curl and my pass drops and my hook drops. It's something I really need to work on. And then being consistent with my hard shoulder tackles. Sometimes, I have a long wingspan, so I like to wrap up or I like to, get not bring my shoulder. So just being consistent with that and then knowing when it's okay to, wrap up when you're like on the side or they call it like a knife tackle, but being able to like when you can use your shoulder so you can inflict pain on the ball carrier basically. So
All right, I'm going to give you one piece of advice.
I saw Marvin perk up.
Quarterback bootleg.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's a compromising position for a middle linebacker because, again, you got to make a decision early on. You got to turn and look for that tight end running that drag route, or you got to go ahead and take the quarterback. Whatever decision you make first, commit to it and stick to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Nick, sales pitches aside, and each school has given you their best, no question. And each school that you have narrowed down to your top 4 has distinguishable traits. They're some of the best in the country and best in college football history. So when you stepped on the campus for your official visits, what has grabbed you the most about each school?
Yeah, I'll start with Alabama. I think just stepping on campus, I think a lot of the players were welcoming. They came up to me, didn't know who I was, didn't really care. Saw me with a lanyard on, and a couple of coaches said what's up, told me their name. And then I think the brotherhood really spoke out to me. During the OV pictures, everyone's down there laughing, joking, shadow boxing, all that sort of stuff. Team camaraderie, you can feel it. You can like coaches really talk about it. They'll tell you, yeah, we have a tight team, this and that. But really seeing and experiencing it was definitely something that I took it from the visit. I'll go to Georgia. Stepping on campus, love Coach Morrell, but Coach Shu, 3 Buckets Award winners, one of the greatest to ever do it, and he's only like 36. So just talking with him and, seeing his secret formula that he doesn't call really a secret, but just learning what he's doing that's different from the rest to get players in the position where they're first-round draft picks at middle linebacker, which is pretty difficult now in this day and age. But that, and then, Coach Kirby Smart, he's kind of like, I wouldn't say he's like Nick Saban, but he's kind of the more personable. You can walk into his office and really talk to him, call him, sort of coach. So, but he still has that. He'll get in your butt and he'll really like tell you, keep it straight and tell you like, yo, pick it up. So, a lot of coaches, they don't really have that because of the NIL and they think these kids are privileged. Coach Smart don't really care. Oregon, is weird because you're out in the middle of nowhere, but
yeah.
And then you see the facility, and you're like, dang.
Yeah.
And then you see what they're building, and you're like, okay. And then you walk in and you see Coach Lanning, Coach Tosh, and Coach B. Mike, who are all part of the Georgia and the Alabama pipelines, and you're like, okay, they're bringing But Coach Smart and Coach Saban kind of they're tweaking everything, but they're taking it to Oregon. So like you're seeing a bunch of players, top players going from wherever they are all the way to Eugene, Oregon, but they're creating this culture, this player-led culture that's like you can see it. Like I said before, coaches would say, "Yo, we have this player-led culture, we got this and that," but you really see it in the meeting rooms. They're talking, they repeat that they have like this thing that's drilled in their head. It's crazy. It's like a mindset that they all have. So, Coach Taj, being an edge coach, they're trying to maybe kind of a hybrid first, second down, stack linebacker, third down, edge rusher, which is I definitely like. But and then one important thing, all the schools with the green dot, saying that I got potential to be that. So, and then Michigan, they're like traditional, they're old school. They're like, we have a certain way of doing things, and we're going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off. But Coach Jerome Moore is kind of tweaking that and creating his own version. Him being an O-line coach, that stuff. It raised kind of some people raise questions about that, but trust me, Coach Wink and Coach Beater, they got it on lock. That defense, what they did to Ohio State, which people don't really remember because they won a national championship, they shut them down. So seeing that, and then the plan they have for me, that Raven system that Lewis and all those great linebackers that came from, it's really intriguing to see that. And then the players, the brotherhood at Michigan really spoke out to me too as well. So
I'll give you a fun fact real quick.
Go ahead, Marvin. Give me your one fun fact that's not a fact.
You spoke about the University of Georgia and all the first rounders, the linebackers. Georgia has produced 4 first-round linebackers.
Oof.
Alabama, 11.
Oof.
Did you know?
he has something against UGA, Nick.
It's built on swampland.
Yeah, he got something against UGA.
He's
True Alabama guy all the way through, born, bred.
Yeah,
when he dies, he's probably gonna have a crimson casket.
He also has a few viral videos about Georgia too, if you want to.
Yeah, so he's coming from a place of being biased. Like we started off, and you see, I'm a true Maryland representative. I've gone off and done what I've had to do at different places. You see Lenny behind me. You see the Maryland shorts made by the museum by my peoples down there. You see Prime over here because I'm a corner. My question that I've always wanted to ask, and I asked myself that years ago, along with the Darnell Dockett's, the Cato Junes, the Dylan Stewarts, Caleb Williams, good players from the Maryland area, because we'll talk about the DMV a little bit later on between me and you, because you're out there closer to Baltimore, not closer to DC. Yeah. You can't get on the metro and get to where you got to get to. But leaving the state of Maryland and going off abroad, why do you believe most of us do that, including yourself?
Yeah, so I'll talk from some of my teammates and what they said, and then from my personal experience.
Yep.
So some of my teammates, they, to be honest, they didn't really like Maryland. The school won, and for them, I feel like a college decision is a lot about, well, obviously it's football and education, but it's also growing into a young man. And I feel like some kids want that experience away from their parents, like a plane ride away. So it's harder for your parents to take off work, so they can't reach you. So they want that experience where they can, be themselves, be able to like be out of that shadow of your parents, where they can, focus on football, academics, but then just be themselves, go to, USC like Caleb did, or Dylan Stewart went to South Carolina, stuff like that. I say for me, coming freshman year, sophomore year, I liked Maryland. Maryland was cool.
I remember.
I didn't mind staying at Maryland, but then, I started to really think. I was like, I have a lot of opportunity to not have my parents, breathing down my neck, have them 45 minutes away, just a drive there. I had some cousins that were at the school. I could really just be alone, be independent, be like what I've been raised to be at a place like at the 4 places I chose in my top 4. So that's for me, my experience when it comes to staying in Maryland. But as you see, Zion, he's want to stay at Maryland. So maybe there's going to be a trend coming soon. So we just have to wait and see.
And Marvin, I'm hold on one second. I'm gonna have you fill in on this, Marvin, because Marvin was rock stone away from where he grew up at to going to the University of Alabama. All we saw was his cousins. Rarely saw his mom and his folks pull up. Mook was on his own from the second that he left that spot. But all that you said is I believe in understanding that, and I don't think you're saying anything wrong. But the crazy thing that I've done over the years, and I wish I would have thought about this a long time ago, is being from that area. Most kids that are Georgia kids, you know where they say they want to go to school at?
Georgia.
You know, most kids from Alabama, you know where they want to go to school at?
Alabama.
And it's like around our way, we don't take pride in who we are. We have to get validation away from home. And I've always questioned, why is that? Go ahead, Mark.
But Smoke, those two programs are also different. You mentioned Alabama and Georgia. You go over one state over to Mississippi, and half those kids want to get out and don't want to go to Ole Miss or Mississippi State. They want to go to Alabama. They want to go to LSU. They want to go to Georgia.
Pride.
Unfortunately, Maryland's one of those states. They don't
Pride.
have an ad.
But Petty, here's the difference between like Maryland and Mississippi. Like, and I can't speak on Mississippi's like point of view. Like when you're from like the area, and we don't even sound like everybody else. And Nick knows that. We got our own music, we got our own clothes, we got our own culture. So it's a sense of pride within that. But as soon as it comes to athletics, it's like we got to go get validation from everybody else. And again, Nick, I've been through it. I'm a victim of it. Well, go ahead, Marvin.
Well, I think with football, it's just a little bit different because, again, you have some states like California, they're going to take pride in it. Texas is going to take pride in it. Louisiana's going to take pride in it. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, all those states are going to take pride in football, and they're going to want the best. A lot of these states, they don't prioritize football. So it's more of what they'll consider a basketball state. The more you move up the Northeast is when you start to move into what they consider basketball territory. So as a kid, and you're thinking, I want to grow and do what's best for me, naturally, I'm going to want to go play with the best. I'm going to want to go compete with the best. So for me, going to Alabama, being right there, yeah, but I wanted to play with the best. It was like we went to the Mississippi Alabama All-Star game, and we're playing against all these kids from Mississippi. And like Pettey said, none of them really wanted to go to Mississippi. All the ones that went to Mississippi State and Ole Miss, the majority weren't offered by Alabama. That's why they went to Ole Miss and Mississippi State. But, with Mississippi, that's a different animal within itself. When you start looking at the resources and everything else that's being poured into it, the culture, the state of Mississippi as a whole, you couldn't have paid me to go to Mississippi. I don't care how much
they could have. They could have paid you.
Listen,
I grew up in Alabama. There was no way I would have went to Mississippi.
You wouldn't have gone backwards one step.
Man, I would know. But I think a lot of these kids is more about finding a right fit where they can be coached, developed, and have that brotherhood when they're done.
Agreed.
And I think you made a good point about the basketball country too. Sorry, Justin.
I don't let Stephen go in just a second. I don't think it's so much about pride and where you're from. It's about getting away from everything you've ever known and what people have called you and told you were, and being out on your own and discovering who you truly are.
No, I'm going to disagree with you.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Real athletes want to go where they're going to be coached, developed, and play with the best.
That as well,
they care less about what they've been
get
called.
away from everything you've ever.
No. Justin, that to real athletes, that means nothing to them. That is not even in the criteria for what they're considering.
Yeah, we just want to get coached hard and win.
Yeah,
Stephen, you've been waiting for a while.
Is that what you just want to get coached hard and win, man?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's let Stephen go. He's been antsy. I can tell.
Well, when you look at Nick, you mentioned like the coaches that are on your list. You brought up Dan Lanning. You brought up Kirby Smart. You brought up Sharon Moore at Michigan. Those guys are sharks, especially when you look at Kirby Smart, shark. When you look at Dan Lanning, shark. When you look at Kalen DeBoer, how has he started to kind of separate himself in your mind? Being down there, being around him, taking a part of his aura, how has DeBoer started to separate himself as I can be a shark too, or I'm one of those guys as well in terms of this conference?
I mean, to be honest, you guys seen it on the recruiting trail, like what Alabama's done these past couple weeks. They have like 4 or 5 stars already, and we haven't even hit the middle of July. So like, I feel like Kalen DeBoer, he just, taking the spot of Nick Saban, and yes, he's changed it a little bit, got some new ideas, but like it's still the same Bama at the end of the day. Still have the same resources, still have the same training staff, still have the same coaching staff, still got great players, great scheme, everything. It's still Alabama to a place. So I mean, when you put a good coach who like has only lost like a handful amount of games since Washington and then Alabama. So like, when you put a great coach there, like obviously there's going to be success. Obviously he's going to enter that tier of, being one of those sharks that you talked about. So I feel like he's done a great job so far this recruiting cycle, and I'm excited to see how it continues as this recruiting class kind of shapes up.
I'll ask one final question, and then I'm going to let everyone go around with a rapid fire question. So we as fans love to draw comparisons, Nick. We're always looking for that next version of insert name here, right? For Alabama, it's always going to be Reuben Foster. Goes without saying. For Georgia, some would say Nakobe Dean. When we do that, it sometimes puts pressure on players to recreate a legacy that's not his own. When you finish your college career, regardless of wherever you go, what do you want fans to say about the legacy that you create?
First things foremost, I want to say that he's a leader. I feel like that was just from day one. My parents were like, no matter what, if you're the biggest, strongest, fastest, you're the most talented, you're going to be a leader. You're going to be able to stand in front of a circle and tell guys, motivate them, be like that. Unless he played fast, he played physical, he played hard, didn't give up till the clock hit 15 on the first quarter, till the clock hit 0 on the fourth quarter. He put, or even in OT, doesn't even matter. He played hard from the whistle to the end of a play. So, and then he was a winner. Everyone wants to win, but when you can greatly impact the game of football and be able to say, yeah, I was good, but we didn't really do nothing. We didn't win. I didn't contribute to a winning team. But say you're good and you make the guys around you better, and you're able to carry that and then translate that to wins, I feel like that was something that will be a part of my legacy as well. So,
Nick, let me give you one more little tidbit real quick as a former middle linebacker. When you spoke about leadership and leading men, it's not as easy when you're dealing with all those personalities to hire you going football.
Already in high school, man.
It was a lot of days I questioned my life. I'm like, like who raised you? Like
Nick, he had to deal with me. That's why he's saying that, bro.
He did.
He had to deal with Smoke and Kenny.
Oh man,
we're the easy ones.
Different.
Look, what are you looking forward to? This could be football, life, anything. You've talked about moving off. We've talked about what to improve on once you get there. What are you looking forward to most about the college experience?
Competing against the best. That would probably be my number one answer. I think, all my life, kids have been saying, "Oh, do this against this con, do this." You play in Maryland, you're not playing in Texas, California. Then we go to these rivals camps, and I'm strapping up and locking up these kids from Florida, Texas, and all that. I just want to compete against the best. Everyone's saying, "Yo, when you get to college, this and that." I want to experience that and be able to, get knocked down, but then thrive. And I feel like, coming from McDonough, obviously you're highly rated. You don't really have a lot of times where you're knocked down. You got to get back up, or there's been a hard point in your life. So just being able to experience that and then find out, how I'm going to deal with it or how I'm going to come through that is going to be something I'm really excited for.
Now, looking at the choices that you make as a recruit, narrowing it down to the 4 teams, I think one of the most underrated factors in picking a school is weather.
Yeah.
Did the weather play a role in your decision making? Because listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Early in my recruiting process, I told Michigan I told Notre Dame. I told Penn State, listen, it ain't happening. Stop wasting your ink. I'm not doing it. So does weather play a role in your criteria deciding where you're going?
Not really. I think living in Maryland long enough it's been really cold a couple of times. Well, not a couple of times. It's been cold pretty much during the winter, like freezing, snowing. For that one storm, it was like got like 6 or 7 inches of snow.
Well, can I stop you right there? Listen, hitting a 50-pound man in the freezing cold, that bitch is 500 pounds. It does not feel pleasant.
I know it hurt.
Yeah, Nick, it hurts. But you said you wanted to play in the NFL, and I'm going to say over 80% of NFL teams play in inclement weather. So don't let Marvin's sensitivity to weather, climate change, your outlook.
Deal with it in the NFL, not college.
Yeah, Marvin, we tough, bro. We from up top, man. We don't go for that.
I've been to plenty of Ravens games. It's been freezing. I've been sitting there with my dad. We just looking at each other, how cold it was. So
yeah, we built different, bro. We ain't built like you.
Marvin had Alabama #1 during recruiting. He had Hawaii #2.
Yeah.
No, he had Florida #2 because Florida was really good.
Oh yeah, Steve Spurrier. Hey man, they were winning at the time.
And Alabama was not winning.
No, but there was the hometown team, and you knew that Alabama wouldn't be down forever. I mean, you look at the history, the track record of the team throughout the decades, they continue to win national championships. That's why the number got to what it got to.
All right. Before we hit rapid fire, we got to bring up one of our other sponsors. Listen, the football season is only 53 days away. Get properly prepared. Get yourself your own title towel, as Smoke has right there. Go to www.whitwillsports.com today. Enter the promo code STANDARD. Get you a nice discount courtesy of your favorite Alabama network, the Bama Standard Network. That's right, folks. Get your title towel today. All right, let's do this rapid fire, and let's make it true rapid fire. We're going to start with Smoke, then Marvin, Steven, then Pettey. I'll go last. What you got for the man before we let him go?
Okay, Nick, life after football. Give me 3 things you want to get accomplished, job-wise.
First things foremost, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go into finance or real estate. And then I want to give back. I want to build a stadium, in Maryland and be able to, help kids or actually become a coach and teach the kids that, the lessons I've learned as I go through this football journey. So,
okay.
What are you looking forward to most in college off the field?
Yeah. I'd say building connections with the kids that aren't with football, because I think a good thing that coaches have put in my ear is, you never know who you're going to be sitting next to. You could be sitting next to the next CEO of some Fortune 500 company. So being in that kind of space where you're able to meet new people not people from Maryland. So just meeting people from the South or out West or up North, stuff like that. So just meeting all the people and, being able to make friends and be able to talk with successful people.
One little last piece of advice I'll give you. Take advantage of the off season. Take advantage of the summer. Do internships. You're right. Build those relationships, because I know so many guys who we played with, once they were done, they had a degree, but they didn't have any resources to reach out to get jobs because they were so siloed and we all stuck together. So, having those connections and doing those internships will definitely put you ahead. Shout out to Tony Dixon, man, one of my teammates. Put us on, baby. TD, we love you.
Yeah, the crazy thing is Tony was the only one doing internship. There was not another athlete doing a internship. Tell the truth. We found out about that when we finished up.
Yeah, like TD, you only gave us half the playbook. TD, you should have gave us the rest.
Man, TD gave us the whole entire playbook. We weren't listening, Mark. We were chasing.
Well, that might have been true too.
All right, Steven, you got a good one?
All right. So, Nick, dream vacation for you. Dream vacation.
Ooh, I like that.
I'd say I'm a big fan of cruises. So I'd say going on a cruise. I think Yeah. Go on a cruise, and then we're gonna hit Spain, France, Italy, and in Greece.
My kind of guy.
Now,
Nice.
the only problem with that is when you put on about 20 to 30 pounds of muscle and you're trying to get in that shower on that boat, good luck. Been there, done that. Not fun.
Nick, you said something kind of spoke to my heart, and I was glad to hear it, especially going off to college, you being able to cook for yourself. You said your parents made you cook. If you're going on a cooking show and you got to make one dish to get that apron, what are you cooking?
Steak and lobster.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Spaghetti and lobster?
Steak and lobster.
Steak and lobster. Man, don't nobody put no spaghetti and lobster together except for Mississippi, man.
I don't know, man. Smoke. He's lucky Petty didn't say possum and brown rice. Listen.
We don't eat that
when he said it, and I didn't hear the STEAK. But look, man, I am from Mississippi. Those folks eat catfish and spaghetti.
Smoke, you ain't never had no coon? No,
lobster, surf and turf.
Hey, Nick, they don't understand that you're from Owens Mills, man. He's a distinguished gentleman, bro. He's a Maryland guy, bro. We are cut totally different than everybody else.
Let's take it. How do you in the South, we put it on a grill. How you doing your steak? You doing it on a skillet and then in the oven and finish it off?
Cast iron skillet.
There you go. Okay.
But also one way I'm trying to get into is reverse searing. So smoking it and then searing it on like a
Nick, you're gonna need about an hour show to break that down. You're gonna need about an hour show to break that down for Petty. He knows nothing about that.
He actually does.
But Marvin, that's actually where you would be wrong, my friend. This is my alley right here, because I'd ask. I know the reverse here. I'd ask so you use a little butter, thyme, a little bit of garlic in that where you base the steak and throw it in at 450 in the oven. That's how you finish.
Rosemary.
Come on, Marvin. Just because it blipped out and I said spaghetti, look. I know you work in the cloud now. And then
this segment is brought to you by Marvin Stewart.
Hey, we don't cook. Hey, man, you mentioned cooking. It speaks to me.
I'm sure you saute a mean squirrel, Petty. All right.
I do. I'll cook you up a rabbit, and you won't even know the difference.
Man, cut that out.
He will because he ate that stuff.
Don't even listen to none of that, bro. Stay up top with your cooking skills. Don't come on down here with that foolishness.
Y'all just trying to keep him away from the South, aren't y'all?
No, I'm trying to keep him away from Petty.
I know how to cook.
Oh well, there's that. All right, my question is a little bit different. Okay, Final Four in the Royal Rumble. You got Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. Who goes out first, and who is left standing at the end?
So this is funny because I'm actually a wrestling fan.
Yes, I knew we were kindred spirits.
So I'm a big Roman Reigns guy, and I gotta go Cody because I gotta go revenge for WrestleMania 40.
Yes. Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
I gotta save Roman for last.
Okay.
So me and Roman at the end. That's hard because he got that spear and my ego and my confidence wants me to say me.
You should.
But, you should. Yeah, I'm gonna go me.
Heck yeah, nobody taking you out, bro.
Yeah, you're right. No one taking me out, bro.
Heck no.
You the new tribal chief. I hear you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But then you gotta face Jacob too for the title. So
take that one down too. That man go to all boys school. He'll be all right.
But cool, man. Awesome stuff. All right, we come to the end of the show. Before we go, we're gonna go around the room and let everyone tell where they can be found on social media, what they got coming up next. Nick, I'll save you for last since you're the guest. We're going to start out with Smoke, then over to Marvin, Stephen M., then Daniel Pettey, and Nick will go after everyone.
You can find me at Coach GV Dixon on X. Mondays with my guy Petty, doing it really, really good. 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern Time, opening kick on the Bama Standard. Marvin, at some point, you're going to have to jump on in there. Nick, I would love to do your commitment because I've been watching you since you was in the 9th grade, running around when you was 195. Now you all growing up 215, 220. knocking guys back. Just can't wait until you get to college, put it on again for the state.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll move you over at some point, give you a PG address or Montgomery County address or DC address so you can truly claim the DMV.
But in the meantime, Tuscaloosa is a great place to live. It's a beautiful campus. You know, everything's wonderful down there. You know,
Excellent barbecue.
fine establishments. You know, we have a low crime rate. Nothing really happens. You know, I'm just saying. So, but no, you can find me on Instagram, Constant45. You can find me on X, Constant451. And outside of that, baby, I'm here.
Steven?
Find me on X, Coaching M. Smith there. You can find me here tomorrow, Bama Vision in the morning. Get your pancake, flapjack, waffle, whatever, coffee. We're breaking it down in the morning. And then now you can find me, BamaStandard.com, pushing stories out there. I already got controversy going with the Ty Simpson clip I put out there. So, hey, find me right there.
You know, I'm always starting stuff. So, you know, you
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I'm Steven M. Smith.
I'm about to start calling myself Stephen C. Smith. The C stands for controversy. So there you go.
You got that. Hey, before you go, we got a super chat. We got to acknowledge that. Yeah. Shout out to Davis Lewis Love, $20. Majority of high schools in the state of Alabama don't invest in high school sports like Texas, California, Georgia, Florida, and Louisiana. There are a select few schools in the state, not a lot. Interesting.
Well said.
And even with that, there's still the level of pride to where they want to go to Alabama despite the resources poured into them in high school. So again, the resources don't really make a difference.
Marvin, you stand up for your little state.
Yep.
And he moved away too.
And I stand on mine too.
and he moved away as well.
Petty, where can you be found, sir?
Petty_Daniel. You're going to find me Thursday night with the Bama Standard in Dothan at Buffalo Wild Wings from 5 to 6 with Bama legends Derek Lassick, Riddle. We got Langham, and then Kevin Jackson, the host of the AL7, K7 for ALS, is going to be on with us. Come down, tune in, Dothan. We're going to be live, though, Thursday night, 5 to 6. But again, man, you know, add what Marvin said. It's going to be tough, man. Getting to know you guys, Nick. It's been a great interview, man. If you don't go to Alabama, it's going to suck. Have to pull for you somewhere else. But like everything Marvin said, I was at Alabama for close to a decade. On top of that, there's a lot of good visuals walking around campus too, man. So it's not a bad place to be. Like I said, after a decade, I can guarantee that.
It took you 10 years to graduate, bro?
Yeah, one degree. I'm waiting on my doctorate. I've sent them some correspondence like, hey, I was there for a decade. When do I get my doctorate? And
Petty, I graduated less time than that, bro, and I didn't even do like all that.
Why do you have 200 hours for 1 degree?
He was waiting on the national
Did you
championship.
see how fun Alabama was? See, I mean, it's a good
It
time.
was fun. It was fun.
Good time.
So, Petty, you saying for 5 years, all you took were electives?
He was trying to wait.
I went to the aquatic center. I jumped off the high dive. Again, man, good place, Nick.
Petty was trying to wait out probation that you put us on, Marvin.
Yeah, I was trying to get to a championship. I went to the Liberty Bowl. I went to the Independence Bowl while we were in college.
Hold tight. Pause. There was also an Orange Bowl and 10-win seasons in there.
Orange Bowl.
And two SEC West championships in there. Like, you know what, Marvin? You know what I get pissed off at all these Nick Saban
when I was playing baseball in junior college.
Yeah, Marvin, you know what I get pissed off at these Nick Saban lovers?
Romantics.
What's that?
You know, they pretend or act like we didn't get things done while we were there on campus.
We won an SEC championship.
Yeah, and I think we get like put into the cloud of Shula.
No.
Yeah, we weren't part of that crowd. We won 10 games twice. We weren't ranked in the top.
College was during Shula.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, y'all got to put some respect on this, man. I don't like that. Go ahead, Justin. I apologize. You see what I'm saying, Nick? They try to just throw us under like we ain't do nothing. Records are out there. I don't care if they take it away from us, Marvin. We still did that thing. Ask Spurrier.
We can also
ask Nick.
We can also ask Tom Brady.
All right, Justin, close the show. Listen, you hater.
You really have to throw Brady in there.
Listen, we can throw Brady in there. It took Brady a minor miracle just to come back and win by a point
Look,
in double
Smoke.
overtime.
All right, all
Smoke.
right.
Well, out our two best players playing, two Hall of Famers.
True.
Smoke. I don't
Ooh.
want to hear it because every
All right.
time I think of one person, Ryan Flugner.
All right. I see the bitterness is still real. But listen, we got our guest to get to.
Nobody gets on Flugner. Nobody remembers Chris Kent missing them, too.
Nick, we greatly appreciate you dealing with our craziness tonight, taking time out of your very busy schedule. I know it's about to come to an end soon. I know you're excited about that because then you get to take a breath, relax, and focus on your senior year, which you're going to have an amazing year. I want to give this sentiment from Justin Summerlin. I believe you have a bright future, bro. I hope you come to Bama, but if not, I hope you succeed in everything you do. We echo the same thing, Nick. Regardless of where you go, man, this is your future, and we know that you're going to thrive at whatever school you're at. We're excited for you. Before you head out, tell folks how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on X at the Nick Abrams, and then on Twitter. No, not Twitter. On Instagram and TikTok at the.Nick Abrams.
Cool. Thank you again, man. We appreciate you taking time to hang out with us, and we'd love to have you back once everything kind of settles down. Definitely during your senior year, kind of pick up and get an update. But yeah, we're excited for what you have, what God has planned for you, and that's going to do it for all of us here at the Bama Standard. Listen, we don't end. The network doesn't end. And about an hour, we got the Herb and Raj podcast at 8 p.m. Central. They're going to be doing a South Carolina preview. So if you want to know what Alabama is going up against on this schedule, that's a great show to find out. So check them out. And Stephen M. Smith said tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central, get your coffee and whatever your breakfast item is, join him. He's got some great stuff coming your way. And we're always entertaining here at the Bama Standard Network. But until next Tuesday, we'll see you later. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.